My name's Wes Evans, and I've got a farm out here just west of town. Been farming there for basically my whole life. So.
Well, my name is Andy Chasteen, and I'm kind of in cycling advocacy and outdoor recreation in Northwest Arkansas. And I think what I'd like to find out from you is maybe like sticking points and how we might be able to, I guess, coexist on these rural roads as cyclists and as farmers. And not to jump right into it, but I think my question for you is, like, in the farming industry and in the farming community, what are the crux points, the sticking points to bike riders out on these roads, especially the gravel roads,
Some of the issues that we've seen is bicyclists, are so focused on their exercising and getting down the road that they don't know how to handle, livestock.
Yeah.
Being out on the road.
Yeah.
And pushing them away from the farm that they belong.
Yeah.
Other issues is just kind of the commute itself. We're on a tractor. Unfortunately, a lot of times we're slightly slower than the bicyclist, but not so much slower that you guys can get on down the road.
That's right. Yeah. And
so when we hit a hill, we can keep going, and you guys blow up. So we're constantly in a race, and So what has made in the recent years? Why is the push for the riding
out on the gravel roads? Yeah. So, as a cyclist, you want to be safe, and what we've seen over the past, let's just say 10 years, lots of people driving with their phones in their hands. So it's become increasingly more dangerous to ride in urban environments on paved roads where the traffic's faster. And so there has been this like slow, I guess you would call a migration out into these rural environments where it's safer, it's a little slower, the gravel roads are a little slower, there's less vehicle traffic, and let's be honest, it's much more beautiful. There's more exploration to be had out there, especially in Arkansas here. A lot of these roads they spider everywhere, so they're not on these grids, right? They meander, and then you come to a junction, you're like, oh, should I go right or it feels very adventurous. Like, I grew up, there's a safety factor there, and so I think that's why you've seen this, like, maybe in the last probably 10 years, like this gigantic explosion of, I bet 10 years ago you weren't seeing people out on bikes on the dirt roads.
No. If you did, it was for commuting. That was their daily driver.
Yeah, it was a reason. Yeah.
So when we're in a tractor, and a lot of people say if you can see the farmer, you assume the farmer can see you. But we're still very limited on tractors with our mirrors.
Right.
Being able to see around our equipment. Tractors are basically designed to see the work we are doing.
Yeah.
Not the area around us.
That's right.
And typically tractors are always going to be pulling a piece of equipment, which is a trailer,
right?
Of sorts, whether it be a cutter, whether it be a baler, a rake, a plow, whatever, and you have to treat those like trailers, but also they're oversized. So with that being said, and the limited visibility that we have, a lot of times we use different practices on the road. As far as I can't see if somebody's trying to pass me, I'll start veering into the other lane to kind of make sure they understand something's fixing to happen.
Makes sense, yeah.
I think patience is kind of the key for both of us to really get along great in our rural communities.
So what I would say is, and something that I personally preach a lot within our community, and I think it's starting to slowly take hold, is, okay, we are out here on these dirt roads, and yes, they're public roads, but this is not our zone. This is your zone. This is where you live, you work, you even play, right?
Yeah.
So one thing that I've been trying to really, really stress and emphasize with a lot of our cycling community, especially out on the dirt roads, is, okay, be respectful. We're here for a minute. We're here for an hour or 2 hours or 3 hours. This is not our zone. Yes, it's a public road, but this is not our zone. So be respectful with the way you act. Be respectful with your trash, from your food. be respectful of the livestock, and also, I think we've had this conversation before with some other farmers, is be respectful of their way of life. What's the best way that a cyclist could respect a tractor? You know, you said not passing on the right. Obviously, that seems like a no-brainer to me, but I understand that some people wouldn't like think of that. I mean, laws of the road, right? Like obey the rules of the road. But is there anything else that maybe making sure that you don't come up too quickly because they don't have the awareness in the tractor? Like
that's a lot of it, trying to figure it out, and doing it safely is a big deal. I think cyclists are the same as us. At a certain point, we need to realize that one of us is slower than the other one. Well, we're better off just pulling over and letting the faster one go by, and it's over, right? But that's not what we do. Right. We always fight over that position because a lot of times, you know, it's just human nature. You want to win the race, and so I think it goes for farmers also. You know, if you can see that the cyclists are just going to get by you, you're safer pulling over and letting them by.
Tell me about respect the fence.
So respect the fence, basically, and the properties, right? So some of our properties don't even have fences because it's just a hayfield, you know. So and you don't typically want somebody out in the middle of your hayfield doing whatever. But if there's a fence there, or there's a significant, obvious property boundary, I mean, it just staying off people's property is just a typical thing. I mean, nobody. Even in town, you don't want your neighbors just walking right across your lawn. That's right. You know, our lawns are just a lot bigger than a typical lawn. You know, it's nice to see somebody appreciate what I do for a living and appreciate what I work so hard for. Right. But I also want to make sure that you're safe while you're doing it, and the different types of people is just making each of us a little uncomfortable. When we're starting to come together.
Well, it is. You know, I'd say it's very weird to see a bunch of people in spandex riding on their bikes, on these fast bikes. At least it was. It's probably a little normal now.
Yeah, I mean, well, if we get some cyclist teams with overalls, I think it would be a lot more comfortable.
Flannel shirts. Yeah. Hey, some people do ride gravel roads out on their flannel shirts. Trust me, I've been one of them. This is something that we've been talking about and thinking about for a long time now. Is, you know, what's the universal sign of I'm friendly? It's a wave, right?
100%.
I grew up in a little town in southern Missouri of 3,000 people, and every car you came across on the road, whether it was in town or out in the country, you waved at them, right? If every cyclist and every person out on these roads in their cars or tractor or whatever waved at each other, it changes the temperature immediately. No matter what.
100%.
So I think, you know, I don't think that wave is the answer to everything, but I think it changes a lot.
You're 100% right. You know, I think if just a smile and a wave would go a long ways.
I wave it when I'm on rides. I wave at every cyclist I see, every driver I see, every human I see outside their house that I'm passing. I just, you know, it makes my day better. I'm hoping it makes their day better. You know, I think I think that's a big deal.
Yeah,
I really do.
I think that would go a long ways.
I do too. Yeah.